So what takes place then is they don't have a problem with the landing, which they had anticipated they would have. They climb down. They first thing they do is take the Freemason plaque and they put it over next to the structure so you can see both of them, and they photograph that as the Freemasons then accepting the ownership of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I don't know whether we understood that part.
No, I got it, but go ahead.
And so then, all this before you do your real thing. They dig down in the box where all the stuff is, and they bring out the Freemason flag. And they stick it in here like this, and they stand next to the Freemason flag. Okay? First things first here.
So you've seen these photos?
Yeah. Okay. And I'm only saying, what have the Freemasons got to do with this?
Well, we've seen the photos of was it Buzz Aldrin with his ring and his bib, on the limb, So this is not.
It's not totally new.
Yeah, so we've heard this before, but you're seeing this being done. Is that what you're saying, that you saw them through the video feed, them conducting this little ceremony on the?
Yeah.
On before one small step for man, it's one planting of a flag for the Freemasons, and then we'll do the one small step. What came first? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, you got to ask, what are Freemasons? What are they doing here? Every one of the astronauts were Freemasons. Wow.
No, I'm taking you literally, Bill. I mean, the first things first. I mean, am I getting that right? Is it fair for us? I mean, are you telling us that
before you accepted that you were there, United States, accepting that you owned the moon, which you don't own it, it's not yours.
Well, Walter's asking a very specific question. What the timing was the Freemason ceremony before, after the small step for mankind?
No, it was before. The first thing that was done was the
did they do
the
that?
two things
in the craft or on the moon?
on the surface of the moon.
It just keeps getting worse, better. I don't know. It's just
No, wait a minute. You put the plaque on the dirt, on
okay.
the soil.
You said next to the structure, so that would.
And then you take all the pictures with them standing by the plaque, okay? Then you separately one of the guys brings the flag down, you stand that up, and then the guys stand by the...
And they climb back up the ladder into the thing, and they do the Neil Armstrong show.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard this?
Never heard it. Brand new.
Welcome to Search for Truth Reality, my friends. This is just an amazing...
Well, you've read about Freemason rings. You've seen them inside the limb, okay? But what I'm saying is this part about, obviously, it was determined that when Neil Armstrong said, "Good God, sir, they are enormous," referring to these massive extraterrestrial craft, okay? They weren't crafts, they were ships. They were not crafts, they were ships. And so for them to be parked around the edge of the crater, above the surface, floating, okay, and then many of the reptilians standing with their legs apart, standing up
all right.
on the ground.
They're on the surface. The reptilians are on the surface of the moon. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, they're standing underneath the ships.
And you saw this.
Yeah, and
Were they scaly? Did they have
then the word
on? Or they...
then the word came back. They're giving us the finger.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, they were pretty far away for you to tell what they really looked like, weren't they?
Yeah, it's a long ways. It's hard to do it. But whether that was actually happening, the finger thing or not,
yeah.
but that's what the statement they made.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so now we have to trust somebody else's word. An astronaut who's a 33-degree Mason who's
Yeah, so they're going as the finger, right?
But nobody even knows that the astronauts are Freemasons. Nobody knows this. That's,
All of them? All of the ones that went to the moon,
yeah, all the ones that went to the moon were.
but not necessarily all astronauts
No,
today.
but I'm talking about the Apollo program.
Well, we know at least Buzz is. We've seen photos of him, and the assumption would be, well, are the others? I've not seen anybody beyond Buzz Aldrin outed as, 33-degree Mason.
I don't know, but I know an astronaut socially, he comes to a local MUFON meeting. Next time I'll ask him, are you a Freemason?
Oh yeah, show me your ring. Go ahead. Let's see. Just go. Show me the ring. That's how you ask them. Where's the ring? I want to see it.
Yeah. So there really wasn't much more to say because essentially time was of the essence. They had a lot of things they had to do,
Yeah.
a lot of early testing, even though a lot of the testing part came with other missions. They tried to get as much as they could. And, but there was obviously other people there. It wasn't that they flew in and nobody else was on the moon. The reptilians were on the moon.
Well, it seems a little backwards though. So let's say they know. They know there's reptilians or whatever. There's beings up there. They know there's craft up there. They know there's structures up there. They gotta know that there's life up there too. And yet they go through this ceremony. They put this plaque out and the flag, and they claim it for themselves. Really? Yeah. Whose moon is it? You think it's yours? Yeah. Those are your words.
No, really, it's not your moon.
No, it's not your moon.
And not even your planet. We're just a laboratory for the rest of them.
Okay.
The thing about people on the moon that interests me exceptionally much is the idea that the first recent Homo sapien on the moon was a German Navy captain. And according to Michael Sala's book,
Yeah.
that was the case. I forget his name right now, but it was what, in 1942 or so?
yeah.
Something like that. He set foot on the moon and began a small Navy base up there,
Yeah.
German Navy.
Yeah.
So then by the time the war was over, there was a group of, 20 or so Nazis who were up there.
That were already up there, yeah.
Yeah, right. So they had already made their deal with the reptilians
Yeah.
that were giving us the finger
Yeah.
years later,
But all that was done before.
25 years later.
Yeah.
So the thing that excites me so much is, as I said earlier, the idea that the Germans were way ahead of us and even on the moon before the end of the war is something that if we can convince the public that that's true, then I think it's a lot easier to convince them all the rest of this almost unbelievable stuff. But just take that first step.
Yeah.
And the first step is so important to me is because it depended on what Bill personally overheard these Navy operatives say over a period of 3 years
Yeah.
in the presence of Admiral Rico Botta, and the process whereby multiple times these fellows testified and what they saw, and then you helped them create the final reports and delivered them.
Yeah.
And even the Admiral said, this is unbelievable sometimes, right?
Yes, it really did. And Michael Salas did a study through Freedom of Information, getting some recent study on Admiral Rico Botta. And the study stated that before Rico Botta took his position as Commander Naval Air Station San Diego, he visited 4 aircraft companies, 4 of them. He talked to the top people in those 4 companies, Lockheed, North American, Douglas, whatever. And then 4 weeks later, Billy Tompkins lands there and he's got this package for these guys, okay? And that document also confirmed that Tompkins represented a 4-star admiral in his presentations.
How old were you? How old were you at this time?
18.
18 years old.
And that's not in the book, but Mike LaSalle got this just recently, within the last 3 or 4 months, in Freedom of Information. A whole lot more about the admiral.
Intelligence background of Rico Botta.
Right.
Yeah, and it confirmed that yes, he did visit 4 aircraft companies before the first package was delivered. And that Tompkins represented the 4-star admiral as the person disseminating the data. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you get any kind of validation or confirmation, really corroborating data behind your testimony, that's always.
Well, I know,
very
Bill.
curious.
Yeah, I know, Bill, that some of these many meetings with the Navy operatives must run together in your mind. But is there any one thing that they said that was the most amazing to you that was going on in Germany that you almost could hardly believe?
Okay, so we're stepping away. We're stepping away from the Apollo, and we're going to jump into World War II. Yes, and the early life of the tender Billy Tompkins and his missions. So please continue.
Actually, I can truthfully say I can't pick out one that was so much more of a unbelievable situation, because literally everything that they were bringing, you have to think of it this way. The SS were given bright, shiny, brand new UFOs, okay?
That would have been
It was
exciting.
totally different than us.
Yeah.
We get,
Are you sure?
no, and so here it is, play with it. We'll
Yeah.
teach you how to drive it,
Right.
okay? So the SS was so much advanced of us that bringing these packages back and disseminating them around the country, they're just packages of sketches, of some drawings, of a couple of paragraphs, and on a subject of communications or propulsions or something, and given to the different companies to make one of those. So you didn't, good God, they were,
So the packages that you were delivering to the companies, typically we would now call RFPs, or request for proposals,
yeah,
in effect.
yeah. But I mean, a request for proposal is a big, long stack of contract data, okay? We didn't have that.
They're handing out Post-it notes. Here's a stick drawing. Can you make this?
Yeah, Bob, you're giving it to me, and I'm over here at Northrop.
Yeah.
But you didn't give me a request for proposal. You gave me, the data you gave me is of not even in the German language. Some of it is hieroglyphics.
So basically, you're saying that there was a little ambiguity as to what was being delivered and what was the intent, but basically we're just telling our aircraft companies that it looks like this is what the Germans have, and think about whether we could replicate it, but they didn't really ask the question.
Well, they didn't. They also asked all kinds of questions that I didn't have answers for. But the point was, we wanted them to study that
Right.
and see if there would be any way that we could understand it, and then
Right.
try to see if something could be designed, like a communication system that would do that.
Right.
You know what? This is like decades before you picked up your first UFO book.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a very difficult thing to do. I finally got to a standard set of things I would say to, because I did it so many times.
The standard thing is like what you just said, right?
Yeah, I'd get a dialogue,
Yeah.
and I would use the same dialogue. We know, take a look at this, and then there's this part here, and I would go into, I'd answer the questions, because remember, if Bob's doing it and I'm Northrop, Bob is asking me to take this, some guy's sketches, some drawings, some photographs, and a couple of documents that are not even in English or German. They're in a hieroglyphics.
But typically
they're in Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Now, were they Egyptian for sure, or were they?
Well, you don't know. You don't. They were that type. That type.
All right, because now if they were Egyptian, that'd be cool. But the point is, there's some kind of glyphs, some kind of things that doesn't represent any kind of written language that we.
What's one of those? What's one of those? You know?
Yeah, yeah. What is that? Meanwhile, in Germany, here you go.
Yeah.
So I visualize these conversations you're having. Typically, when you deliver this package, was it to one person or to 2 or 3?
Usually be 4 or 5 people.
4 or 5 people. And was one of them usually pretty high ranking?
Yeah, always.
Always like the president of the company, maybe, or almost high up?
I think of the laboratories, the director of the lab, to like Warminster, Pennsylvania, Naval Development Center, Warminster.
That was a Navy facility, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was an admiral that ran it,
yeah.
and he would always be there at every one of the meetings.
So when you went to the Navy facilities, you usually got the guy in charge.
Yeah.
When you went to the company facilities at Lockheed, you were never quite sure who you got.
I didn't know because a telephone call had been made, a document had been submitted, and to the 4 aircraft companies that Admiral Rico Botta went to before he even accepted the mission, being Commander of Naval Air Station San Diego. That's how far back this thing went.
Right. But these 4 or 5 guys get this package, they understand it, and they sort of understand it. They understand what it represents. They don't know what to do with it, but they know there's potentially a huge amount of money to be had to basically make one. So they're going to have a story to present to the boss.
Yeah.
And they probably aren't able to create this story right away because they don't know how it works technically. They have to be able to tell whoever is running Lockheed or Douglas that, hey, if we create a proposal to reverse engineer this, it would look like this. But they got to write the proposal.
Yeah. So this is he's describing really, how hard it is on the company to accept this small package. I guess that's the reason they didn't call them proposals; they called them packages.
Now, one other thing. So it was, as I understand it, was more than just these companies. There were also universities involved as well.
And Navy facilities, all 3.
And with Caltech, wasn't Caltech in Pasadena. My first one was at Caltech in a brand new temporary building at the Navy facility out on the desert. And Caltech was working on other programs, nothing to do with extraterrestrial.
And the likely guy to be there would be somebody like von Karman, who was working there.
Exactly, that type.
And he's the guy who shows up later as having special knowledge about this subject.
Help me and my viewers out with von Karman. Who is von Karman?
Theodore von Karman. He's is recognized as a brilliant aerodynamicist and physicist, responsible for a number of breakthroughs in that field.
Okay, so he'd be one of these guys at the universities.
Yeah, he was a Caltech guy. And I think he was the one who maybe even set up, he was the one who maybe set up the Caltech facility outside of the university aspect of it.
And JPL was right just like this.
Yeah, JPL.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just, these weren't like take a look at this, see what you can come up with. It wasn't that at all. I mean,
Well, they were expecting something, some kind of product to come out of the back end of this.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like we're going to throw money at the wall and see you later. Go research and have fun.
Well, he didn't deliver money, he just delivered documents.
yeah, no.
Well, each company would have to come up with whatever funding to do that and just determine whether to. There's a whole business.
But if it's
Sides to consider as
even
well.
if it's an unsolicited bid from the other side,
Yeah.
that didn't fit this situation
Right.
at all.
But imagine how hard it would be to get the presidents to actually pay attention to this,
Yeah.
unless they'd have been involved in the initial
Now, Bob,
meeting.
Right.
Bob's right there. I mean, you have to understand the feel at that time. I mean, it's insane, okay?
Yeah, like I said, chicken scratch on a Post-it note. Here, go make a flying saucer.
Right.
Really? I'm gonna spend $1 billion on this. Come back when you got some more information would be my tendency. It's just fascinating to think where we are today. Do we really have a secret space program? Have we mastered anti-gravity? Are we actually out on all the planets in our solar system and the 12 closest stars, which I think was the other part of the Apollo program, using these the Nova trucks, these huge rockets to take machines into the sky.
My gut feeling is yes to all those questions.
And so it's all been done.
Yeah, it's all been done.
And here we are talking about where is it? And when Bill comes along and tells me, oh yeah, I saw that back, and say, yeah, I saw it. It's like, dude, man, where you been? I saw it. I want to, we're running short on storage space on our disk. We got a few more minutes. What I'd like to do is ask this question. There was something that was left out of your book, Selected by Extraterrestrials. And the other part of this, I love this title, My Life in the Top Secret World of UFOs, Think Tanks, and Nordic Secretaries. The question was, and you told me about this last time we visited, because you pointed this out, that you forgot to include this in the book, and it was a question that I had, and I'm sure a lot of the readers out there had about the book, is how did you learn that your secretaries were indeed Nordic extraterrestrials?
Okay, you have to go back to the chapter of how I got her, because there were three other people that came in first. And there's, in that chapter, they were nice young ladies. They were smart. Some of them actually really did work good. But then 5 or 6 weeks after we got them, they disappear. Or they get told that they were being transferred to the El Segundo plant. And then my attorney does the investigation and finds out that she didn't even report there, and she doesn't live in her apartment. So what's this all about?
This was after you were at Douglas? After you were at Douglas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, on the Apollo program, I had an attorney, and no other section chiefs had attorneys. Well, that was supposedly to keep me out of trouble, because I was in trouble a lot, okay? But that was really because what we were doing had so many things in it that writing a document and isolating it so nobody else could build it requires legal process. And so that's what he really was. He put together these packages that came up in the development of the programs, where we would have essentially new businesses for the company. And so patents got involved. And it got so big that the Navy formed a patent office in San Francisco. We worked directly with them. It was a Navy patent office. Some of the stuff was coming from extraterrestrial. Some of it we were designing. It's amazing. And no other engineering department in aerospace even approached that, because they never had the need.
So we've got a few minutes left here on our time on the disc here. So if you can tell us how you came to actually learn, tell us the day you learned that your secretaries were Nordics.
Okay, sorry to deviate from that. On one flight, about 6 weeks after I finally got my real secretary, and she reported for work, again, flying in another DC-7 to Cape Canaveral with my assistant this time, assistant section chief. He told me, he said, Bill, we could be in trouble. This is on the aircraft. And I said, what? We're in trouble all the time. No, he said, is it wise for us to leave her there because she could sell the whole company to our competition, Lockheed or Boeing? I mean, that woman is unbelievable. You can't leave her alone. She can do anything.
He was worried you left the secretaries behind.
Yeah. And so this goes on, and at that time, neither one of us believes that she's a Nordic. We don't believe that good-looking one over in propulsion is a Nordic. And even the guy that comes every once in a while, their advisor,
Right.
They're not Nordics. We don't believe that. Actually, it was over a year before we really accepted, because of conditions that came up, holy cats, they really are Nordics. Wow. And everything after that completely changed. That's when she simply opened up and started telepathically putting stuff in my head, like so fast I couldn't even keep up with it. Answering the problems, coming up with major problems, answers to them. Now, she didn't answer all the problems, but I would say she answered over 50% of all of the major problems of Apollo. The other stuff I sort of came up with sideways about the answer to the others.
Sure. I mean, so you can't really credit them for providing all the solutions to Apollo. We discussed that in the car on the drive up. So can you tell us about what happened in the staircase?
At what?
In the staircase.
At the staircase?
Yeah.
Okay. Our building in engineering was nothing but a wooden hangar. My section was in the second floor of that hangar. It was a big high curved roof, all made out of wood. So there's splinters around because they didn't take time to clean up everything because we had to get in there real fast. So the stairway going down had splinters in it, and they hadn't cleaned those off. So my secretary is going down the stairs to get the blueprint copies made. And she gets halfway down and she catches her little high-heeled shoes on one of the splinters, and she falls the rest of the way down to the bottom, and she goes unconscious. And so two guys come running over. They sort of hold her and pick her up, and they were going to, the other people came around to help, and they were trying to pat her on the head and see if they could make her wake up. And so it ends up that she doesn't react quickly, so they figure she may be really hurt, and they decided to, well, they called the dispensary to see if they get the doctors to come over, and then they tried to come up with a method to carry her over there. So while this is taking place, she's talking to, no, other people are asking her questions, and she's coming back with stupid answers. And so her boss then said, told her to wake up because she could be hurt and sit up and everything. So she said, who are you? My boss is Bill Tompkins. He's the head of Apollo. and says, "No, I'm not. I'm your boss. I'm Captain so-and-so in the Nordic Navy. You're so-and-so," and he calls her by a different name, which is a real name, and he said, "You're a lieutenant commander, and I'm your captain. Wake up." Back and forth all over. So finally she wakes up, and in the meantime, she said some of the wrong things. Fellows had picked her up, holding her by the bottom, and she's waking up and having a ball. So she turns out to wake up, and now she can remember everything. But that's the way that I saw and heard everything that happened to her, and I'm upstairs in my office on the second floor.
Oh.
I saw everything. I heard every conversation. This is the first time I know she's a lieutenant commander. She has a captain who is her boss. There's a contract to Douglas for she, the other girl, and the other guy to report to the admiral everything that goes on, the Nordic Navy admiral, and that mission was a mission to us to see that we accomplished the Apollo missions, all 4 of the Apollo missions.